Hello. Hi. Welcome back to Flowers in the Autumn. I wish it was autumn because, oh boy, we are in the middle of quite the heat wave right now. Even in my little office room where I do recording and podcasts and streams, even with a window air conditioner on, like, you can feel some pretty, like you can feel that heat. It's pretty strong. It's humid. It's a monster out there. So if anybody else is going through awful heat wave, you have my sympathies. So, the last time we were together, our girl Nerine is trying to take a fall for something, and this sent our girl Yuzu into quite the downward spiral, and we were lucky enough to have good old Suo Shirahane in the back pocket. Never one to give up, not these days. She was able to help pull things back together to get our girl back in the right mindset, because we know, and I think everybody else does to an extent, that there is no way Nerine Komikado actually set out to hurt someone. But this is a girl that clearly wants to be punished for something, and we've seen a bit of her backstory, and we have an idea as to where that complex may come from. So I'm curious to see how all of that's gonna wind out as we jump back into things. And last time I checked, we were about ready to Splinter Cell our way into her room while she's out grabbing some din-din, squeaking like the cry of a bat draws near. I do as well. I think you would have been a great party member from the start, but nobody else wanted to listen, apparently. The girl Suo-kun had in mind bears her sharp canines at me and a cat-like smile. Atop her lap are a bunch of tools quite inappropriate for a young lady for her to have. Oh, come on. You of all people do not need to be talking about anybody, about anything being gender appropriate. We know you have these issues as well. She can have, let her have her lock picking videos on YouTube. She loves them. I mean, it's not like these girls are left with a lot of things to do, so you might as well hone, you know, some criminal-based skills while you're at it. But I don't think, while it may be criminal-based in some ways, I don't think that lockpicking is necessarily always a bad thing. Also, we brought Chidori too. How many people are we bringing to do this? I feel like this is the kind of operation where we probably need to bring like 3 people at most, because I think a lot, like, if anybody at all sees like us hovering around to this door, they're gonna know something's up. She squints down the corridor, her expression deadly serious. When I'd come crawling back to Yaigaki-kun for help, Takasaki-kun hadn't seemed best pleased. Perhaps my attitude from before still stung. Still, what a sweetie pie. Let's not forget the cute little exchange they had. Thankfully, there seemed to be no grudges held between us. However, why are you here? Like, Chidori was like bad enough, but I really don't know why you're here. Like, what are you going to do? You're gonna pigtail them to death if somebody shows up? I hadn't expected the straight-laced Rika-san to jump on board too. I mean, good point. Wait, I don't think Yuzu knows that. Yeah, that's what I thought. He just, you know, we didn't think you needed to know. not the time. We're not the time, girls. Not the time. We are under a strict time limit here. Little Miss Class President doesn't know how to react to Takasaki-kun's compliment. Hearing the reason why they searched my room, I tell them I have no bones to pick.
ほら、八代先輩は心が広い。気に病むことはないんだ。おだてても何も出ないよ。それで、まだ会場には時間がかかりそうかい？もう済みました。
I'm in. Shocked by how little time it's taken her, I look between Yaigaki-kun and the door in disbelief.
雑貨屋の金庫みたいな単純な作りです。そんなに時間はかかりませんよ。今度、2階屋の鍵、部屋の鍵を。
Yeah! Might want to do something about those locks if you can pick them this quickly and this easily.
手早く済ますぞ。戻ってくるまで10分を目安にする。わかったわ。
The gang seems way too familiar with these sorts of escapades. I take the lead and head to Neri's desk. Yeah, they seem real good at breaking into places they ought not be.
教科書類とノートか。ここが一番手間がかかりそうだ。私も手伝いますよ。
Yaigaki-kun and I pull open drawers and rifle through papers, taking care to remember the order we found the textbooks and notes in. If we tip her off by leaving something out of place, all of this will have been for nothing.
コミカド先輩はきちんとした日記帳に書いているイメージだが。僕が子供の頃交換日記をした時はそうだったが。ノートを日記代わりにする知り合いがいますもんね。
Aha! Indeed you do. She says, flipping through one of them, perhaps Nettie'd changed things up since we were kids. I also start looking at every piece of paper more scrupulously. However, I guess we're gonna come up with a big fat goose egg. Nothing.
どこにも見当たらないわ。八代先輩の方はどうです？机の中はすべて調べたが、日記らしいものはないね。
Well, this is certainly a bit of an issue. The only place we haven't looked is Hagiwara-kun's desk, on which our gazes all now converge. I mean, we've already got one break-in on our record. We might, what's it gonna hurt to break into somebody else's desk? Just do it. Get it over with. There's also that. That's also a really, really good point. If she hasn't kept a diary, then there's absolutely no way we're going to be able to pull an alibi out of this. Yaigaki-kun scratches her head, then moves her wheelchair over to where Rika-san is idly playing with her braids. Okay! Oh! Methinks the lady doth protest too much. It's like she fell for like the most classic police like entrapment thing. Whereas if you get your car searched, don't ever look at your car no matter what. Just never look. And Rika just gave up the ghost, like, done. K9 would be in her car, like, in a second. Again, methinks the lady doth protest too much. Despite Rika-san's protests, Takasaki-kun effortlessly follows Yaigaki-kun's orders, peeling back Neri's mattress to check beneath it. Shit. Like, where else would it be? I mean, why not? She does the same with Hagiwara's bed, but... Okay. I mean, like, we're out of options. I mean, I think everything's on the table at this point. Or in the table?
エリカはもっと足を使って探しなさい。
Fucking shit, dude! Absolutely love how vicious these two can be to one another, and it still gets a pop out of me. Like, I still just, like, felt myself completely blown back by that one. Rika-kun regards them nervously, but Yaigaki-kun just smiles.
いつも気に障ることを言ってくれてありがとう。
Don't worry, y'all. This is just how we flirt. She quips back.
いいアミティエでしょ。羨ましいよ。
Yeah. Yeah. Someone you can go, like, that ham on and it just be like, yeah, this is just our thing. That's gotta be a unique and fun little relationship, no doubt.
エリカさんなら本を隠す。
Where would you hide a book? She would hide a book with other books.
名前呼びになっている。来やすいぞ。ま、そうだな。
She hesitantly looks toward the bookcase.
私も同じ。この葉を隠す。
Yeah, like,
森の
it's
中。
probably in the bookcase.
本棚は私が
Oh,
ちゃんと調べた。
well, poop. Okay.
リッカさんが見逃したとは思っていないわ。ただ整頓するだけなら本棚に日記を普通に置くでしょうけど、隠しているなら。
Uh-huh. Seeing what they're going for here. Also, my light just flickered off. I hope that's not a sign of my electricity going off. Suo-kun cuts across the room to stand before the bookshelf. Then, without a moment's hesitation, picks out a Bible in a fancy Oh!
そうか、しまった。ブラウン神父の同心か。
She slaps a hand to her forehead. Her Amitié partner quickly pipes up, asking her what she's talking about.
ギルバート・ケイス・チェスタトンの推理小説だよ。主人公のブラウン神父が探偵役だ。
Alright.
折れた剣の中で名言。この葉を隠すなら森の中の原型が
In the
登場する。
forest, right?
つまり
Suo-kun pulls the slipcover from the Bible, and out comes not a Bible, but a leather-bound book with the word diary stamped on the cover. They made it easy for us, at least.
ダイアリーって書いてある。すごいわ。
Even Rika's just like, well, that's a bit silly, huh?
ネリーもブラウン神父にちなんで日記を聖書の中に隠していたというわけか。
I remember how right after she'd recovered from her illness, Neri had withdrawn into herself and become a major bookworm for a while.
怪奇小説だけじゃなく推理小説も好んで読んでいたものな。よし、一つコミカド先輩の秘密の花園を拝んでみるとしよう。
That's one way of wording that.
いけないわ。八代先輩。
Oh, is it locked? Is it a locked diary? She passes the book to me, and I'm suddenly incredibly nervous. Quailing at the idea of committing this transgression, I remind myself that it's for Neri's sake and open the diary. Okay, I was wondering if it was one of those locked ones, in which case would not be a problem. We've got a lock picker here. Okay. Much simpler than I expected.
そう。
Nodding, I trail my eyes over Neri's faint, delicate script. Contrary to my expectations, the diary contains only basic information: the date, the weather, what she had to eat that day, simple notes on anything she found particularly interesting. Acting like I'm looking for the day of the werewolf of the bell tower incident. Oh, she's gonna go look for the day of the the recital. I actually find myself searching for the day she walked in on. Oh, I thought she would go look for, like, you know, the recital, but I guess this makes sense too. I'm desperate to know what she wrote about that. My heart is thumping and I can feel my cheeks growing hot. Making my way through the dates, I approach the day.
どうしたんです？本に呪いの文言に書かれていた
Yes!
んです。
She's definitely the type.
何？冗談を言っているのよ。
They're curses specifically for Rika Hanabishi. Weird, huh?
ブックカース。 ブックカース、本の呪いよ。中世の頃、書物の盗難を避けるために奥付けに呪いをかけたと記載していた
Dang, we're all boned now.
書物は当時とても高価だったから。呪いの言葉、本当にそんなものがあったのね。
Remember that zombie makeup you had on for Halloween? You might be looking like a little something similar very soon with this curse that we're reading over here. Oh, it's not good. It's not gonna be good for you. It says this one is especially potent against cute girls with glasses and braids. Rika-kun regards the book in my hands fearfully. She really can't handle anything remotely spooky. I have to imagine it does, given what you're trying to look up. That said, there isn't a single bad word written against me. However... Oh. Eh. She must have been shocked by the sight of us and she must have been shocked by the sight of us about to kiss. Her wavering handwriting eloquently conveys her inner turmoil far better than the actual words. The signs of it makes me feel like a hand has reached into my chest to take hold of my heart and squeeze, like a genuine curse, in fact. All right, what do we got? Stopping at the date of the werewolf of the bell tower incident, I scanned through the sentences written there. Date, weather, breakfast, lunch, and between these facts, conversations she had with her friends from the council. I left my room, stared up at the stars. Well, this does put her not in her room, unfortunately, so that's not wonderful. Gazed at my reflection from head to toe. My voice echoes around the room as though having originated from somewhere else. The reverberations die out, replaced by a silence that brings with it the chill of winter. Not quite, nope. Is that something you'd write in a diary? Yeah, that's the problem. Your Honor, we want to not present this as evidence. We would like to have the prosecution not admit this into evidence. Yeah, I'm starting to think time's getting real short here. Okay, but if Erica says it, I'm not too worried. What?
リッカ君に聞いているんだ。何をおどおどしているのだって？深夜のお茶会はもうしばらくやっていなくて。そこじゃない。おどおどの後だよ。片上寮長の深夜の
Dorm Mother Katabami. Oh, okay. A sudden flash of inspiration. That's right. Dorm Mother Katabami patrols the dorms at set times every night. What my friend wrote in her diary could prove to be her undoing. Although before I put my plan into action, I'll have to run the story by Dorm Mother Katabami. Hey, are we gonna finally see her? Are we finally gonna get to run a story by her in person? Can we do that? That would be fun. I think I would like to do that a lot. I bow my head deeply to the braided girl blinking confusedly at me. I used my camera to take photos of Nerine Komikado's diary. Smart move! And then, using my authority as president, I arranged for a meeting of the Council of Nikaya. Oh, damn! The meeting will take place night. After we've purified ourselves in the baths and said our prayers. Like at the meeting where my best friend sacrificed herself, I've also summoned Sister Basquiat to attend. Everything has to be exactly the same as that night. Okie doke. Passing in my tracks, I stare up at the school building, shrouded in darkness. There's a tangible difference between the chill of autumn and the cold of winter. The autumn coolness had seeped up gently to the soles of my feet, slowly freezing my insides, but winter adds a sting to it. The frigid air has an edge to it too, like the sharpened blade of a fine sword. Its frosty touch feels sharp as a razor against my skin. I prefer winter to summer. I don't deal well with heat, not when it gets all gross and humid. I like the cool clarity winter brings. All right. This is about proving my best friend's innocence. I can't take any chances. Now then! All right, we're probably gonna have to save here because I imagine we were very close to landing on, like, a bad ending. So we want to make sure we can unlock all those. All right. I'm not looking to reveal the real culprit behind the werewolf of the bell tower incident. I must keep that in mind. My goal is to prove Nerine Komikado's innocence. There are two pieces of evidence I've found with Suo-kun and the others that I can point to in order to prove she wasn't at the scene. The first, Nettie was in the dorms when Ringo was assailed, and I know that because what's the basis for thinking she was in the dorms? She wrote in her diary that she was looking at her reflection. Oh, it's the most obvious thing. Like, how are you gonna be outside looking at your reflection? Freaking duh. Like, why did that phrase it didn't even jump out at me while we were reading it. I was just like, oh man, I feel like a big derp on that one. And the second, the proof that Neri didn't go to the chapel is what proves Nerine Komikado wasn't at the chapel. There weren't any footprints. All right, we're in. The sharp early winter cold helps my thoughts along, enabling me to put together the parts that will prove my best friend has falsely confessed. With a last glance up at the school building, I make my way into the belly of the beast. All right. Well, I mean, I feel like this should be pretty open and shut. Like, I feel like you got this. I feel pretty confident that like it's not gonna be easy saying, oh, by the way, we busted into your room and read your diary. But what's a little breaking and entering between friends, really? Plus, hey, come on, Council of Nikaya, come on, give me a pass here. Deserve that much every once in a while. I calmly survey the room. All eyes are on me. Suspicion is plain to see on the faces of the council members, while Sister Basquiat is looking bewildered. My gaze crosses over them to land on Nerine Komikado's sorrowful countenance. From the way her gaze flits around the room, I can tell she's not planning anything like last time. Bowing deeply to them, I apologize for the sudden summons. Even without looking into their eyes, I can practically feel their unease on my skin. Raising my head, I'm faced with exactly the looks I expected to see. Troubled, suspicious, confused, hungry.
コミカドネリネは犯人ではない。
My tone is as composed as ever as I make my declaration, but there's a weight to my words. Everyone feels it, and I can practically see the question marks forming above their heads.
犯人ではないって。言葉通りの意味ですよ、バスキア教諭。コミカドネリネは佐々木リンゴを襲ってなんかいないってことです。
The room erupts. Neri is staring at me, but there's a bitter tinge to her gaze.
ですが、コミカド副会長が自分がしたことだと。
I mean, I have to imagine Nerine probably thinks we're about to out whoever did it, and she's probably very upset about that because she wants this punishment is all for me.
そいつは自己犠牲だよ。実にキリスト教的精神だ。だが、度が過ぎると笑えなくなる。私がしたことだわ。
Nobody believes that.
そいつは違うな。そもそもネリーは聖堂になんて言ってなかった。
She looks bitterly repentant. I don't want to see that expression on her face.
どういうことです？以前ここで申し開きをした通り、聖堂には足跡すらなかった。襲われたリンゴや突き飛ばしたというネリーの足跡すらね。
That part had been forgotten last time as Neri's explosive confession and resonant motive had rendered all other details moot.
それはおかしいですね。
All right, all it takes is one to start shifting the mood. All right, let's go. Let's win them over one by one.
それは突き飛ばした後、佐々木さんが立ち去るのを待って靴跡を消したのです。私の足跡から特定されてしまう気がして。
Yeah, let's see how that holds up. Let's see how that continues holding up, Chief.
どうやって？
How did you do it? Nettie looks daunted by my blunt questioning. There's a brief pause as she racks her brains for a rebuttal.
木の枝を使ったのです。
Didn't find one! She goes on to say how evidence of the struggle was only to be seen directly in front of the chapel, where the bare earth was sodden from the rain. She claims she walked backwards from there, scouring the prints with a stick until she reached the lawn. If you consider the location of the muddy patch in front of the chapel and the distance from there to the lawn, it's certainly possible. That's a pretty quick thinking. Like, Nerine's not dumb. Like, she's good at thinking on her feet. Looks like everyone's bought her explanation for the lack of prints. I mean, it does make sense. Looking around at the audience, I can tell what they're thinking.
ああ、なるほど。確かにその通りにやれば足跡の謎は解ける。おそらく足跡がなかったのはネリーの説明した通りだろう。だったら。だが、君が話した真実は足跡を消した方法だけだ。
Okay.
あるものをかばっている。
She inhales sharply. She thinks I'm going to reveal the name.
足跡を消した理由。待って、ユズリハ。己の足跡を消そうとしたんじゃない。野生動物の足跡を消そうとした。
Okay, we're going down this avenue again. We can't just like tell her and give her a wink and say, "Hey, not gonna say the name that that you, me, and everybody else is thinking right now." She can't very much do that. She'd been expecting me to reveal a girl's name, so now she stares at me blankly.
動物ですか？ええ。以前にも餌付けした動物のことは話したでしょ。動物の足跡を消すついでに残った己の足跡も消したのです。
The room is in a state of confusion. After all, what I'm saying still doesn't exonerate Nettie of the crime. Yeah, it doesn't. But we're going somewhere with this. In fact, it now sounds like the impetus behind the incident was Nettie's being discovered feeding the animal. that this, combined with her jealousy, led her to perpetrate the crime. But I still have to explain the preceding stages to them.
犯人の動機は話しておかないとね。いえ、そういえばバスキア教員のご趣味は
Okay.
ガーデニングだそうですね。それが何かいいご趣味だ。僕の趣味はカメラでしてね。主に風景を撮っています。
Loosen the audience up a little bit. Get a little banter in there. With this, I pick up the camera I brought along with me.
いい絵が撮れたんです。
Oh.
それは構いませんが。
Feels like very Saul Goodman-ish.
Yuzuriha。悪いが、自室に踏み込ませてもらったよ。ネリー。
Well, we're just dropping it out there. Listen, I broke into your room. I turn on the camera, cycling through to the photo I took in Neri's room.
だって訪ねてこなかったじゃない。僕に鍵開けの技術があることを。
Oh, she's even taking credit for the lockpick. So like all of this is gonna come back on her. She's like covering up for everybody.
そんな嘘を。これは君の日記帳。
Wow, just throwing it out there. I show her the screen. Her gasp confirms to everyone that it's true, and they turn their reproachful gazes back to me.
会長、それは八代会長。友人とはいえ、家人の許しを得ず無断で入るのは。
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
僕もそう思います。だが、こうするしかなかった。不道徳な行いをすることが。親友の無実を証明する方法はこれしかない。日記帳を探った理由はお分かりでしょう。
Realizing that I'm implying it was in order to prove or disprove her alibi for the day of the incident, Sister Basquiat falls silent, and the other council members who swallow their words of also swallow their words of criticism.
長老のルーガルー事件の日、日記帳にはこう書かれていました。
Showing the photo to Sister Basquiat, I read it aloud to the rest of the council.
最後の結びでこうあります。夜、寝苦しくなり、目を覚まし部屋を出た。雲間に覗く星をしばし眺め、それでも眠気が訪れず、目が覚めてしまった私は、姿見で私自身の姿を。
And now I ask you, where outside could she have stared at her reflection head to toe?
それで終わりですか？
Nodding, I ask Neri if this is indeed her writing.
間違いないわ。
But I wrote it afterward. It's my alibi. I needed to create an alibi.
なんだい？この日記がなんだっていうの？確かに聖堂でのことは書いていないけれど、それは突き飛ばしていない証拠にはならないわ。今、確かに日記帳の通りの行動をしていたとの発言を聞きましたね。
Oh, well, I mean... Rather than speaking directly to my friend, I addressed Sister Basquiat in the council.
はい、ネリーは今、リンゴが襲われた11時半、
Yeah,
聖堂にいなかったことを
kind of
知りました。
backed yourself into a corner on that one, Neri. Can't.
この日記帳には夜半に部屋を出たことが書かれている。そうだね。だから星空を見て、みんなが本当に寝静まったかを確認してから向かったのよ。姿見を眺めていたのは？それは外に出る前に身だしなみを確認していたの。
I repeat the words head to toe again, my voice traveling through the rigid air to reach every corner of There's only one place you could do that!
この姿見だが、ネリーはどこで己を見つめていたのだろう。姿見 というが寄宿舎で全身を映すほどの大き
I
な鏡
wonder, I
どこに置いてある？
wonder.
あ、私はその存じ上げません。壁掛け鏡ならお部屋やご不浄にもありますけど、上半身を映す程度の鏡じゃ姿見とは言わない。
Having had this inconsistency pointed out to them, everyone's suspicious gazes once again converge on Neri.
それは確かにある。ロビーだよ。ロビーですか？八代会長、ロビーに鏡なんて置いてありません。いえ、あるんですよ。
An impromptu alternative. With that, I take a step towards the door.
窓をご覧ください。
Yeah, we're coming right back to imagery that we started the game with and have been coming back to since the start. They follow my pointing finger to the window where everyone's faces are hazily reflected in the glass.
姿は映っていますけど、鏡とまでは言えない。
I passed my camera around so they can see the video I took. As I demonstrated for Suo-kun when investigating the shapeshifter of the dorms, the video shows the aquarium lit from within. And then it shows what happens when the lights in the tank are turned off. With the lights off, my face stands out in sharp relief against the inky black glass.
ロビーには水槽がある。縦長の水槽だ。電気を落としたら、こうして大きな。
We've been coming back to that damn aquarium since the start of the game, and it finally played a role.
これだね。
You sunk! You done! Take it home, you bum!
けれど、
She's not a bum. She's just misguided. My audience must think that I'm trying to drive her into a corner with all of these questions about mirrors and reflections. However, that's not my intention. My leading questions were all designed to get her to say what she just now admitted to.
バスキア共有。魚も眠ることはご存知ですか？ええ、以前片上寮長から耳にしたことがあります。なら話は早い。熱帯魚にも睡眠は必要だ。この睡眠だが、太陽が落ちたら電灯を消すというものでなく、決まった時間に消すことが必要なんだ。
This would be when Katabami is making her rounds at night. She turns off the lights in the aquarium. My audience is still passing the camera around and watching the video as I
だ
continue.
から就寝の時間は魚の都合でなく人間の都合に合わせることができる。例えば寄宿舎の見回りのついでに消灯させるとかね。
My friend's a smart one, and it looks like some of the other sharp-minded classmates have also cottoned on. The rest are just looking between us in
熱
confusion.
帯魚の世話は片上寮長の領分だ。そして2階屋の会の面々は知っての通り、見回りは11時半から。
And there you have it. She didn't see Nerine, but also Nerine saw her reflection. The lights would have been out.
片上寮長の部屋の位置からロビーはすぐだ。ほぼ11時半に水槽のライトは切られる。
Forcing my tone and expression to remain mercilessly unemotional, I keep going.
11時半にリンゴは襲われた。だから君が水槽を姿見として使うのは不可能なんだよ。
Silence descends on Iznik. My best friend is chewing on her lip, her brow furrowed, clearly trying to come up with some sort of rebuttal. She's like a Phoenix Wright character on the stand right now who's just been cornered and is about to be found guilty. She's gonna have a meltdown and it's gonna be wonderful.
そう、聖堂に行って戻ってきてからロビーの水槽を見たの。
That ain't gonna fly.
萩原君からも話を聞いている。
Yep,
12時に
wasn't gonna fly.
君が部屋に戻ってきたのね。 聖堂で彼女を襲い、負傷したリンゴが足を引きずり姿が見えなくなるまで身を潜め、足跡を消した。
Yep, the time frame does not make sense. Without giving her time to refute me, I addressed the crowd.
コミカドネリネはあるものをかばっているのです。ユズリハ。そう。
Oh!
玉木寮長もね。
Oh! Weird. Is she like keeping the incident in the first mystery? Is she keeping that in her back pocket and then using that as the answer for this one? Because she kept it secret the last time. I got so engrossed. I stopped reading there for a second. The biggest commotion yet ripples through the room. Glancing at Nettie out of the corner of my eye, I see her staring back at me with an expression of disbelief.
先ほど足跡を消そうとしたことの有無を話した。野生動物の足跡を消そうとしていたと。
I launch into a story about what really happened back when the rumors of the Wendigo were oh, we are really doing this! I tell them how a group of students had cared for an injured raccoon, that dorm mother Katabami had taken over, how the rules meant that she'd have to release it back into the forest not fully healed, and how, out of kindness, she'd kept returning to the forest to feed the creature as it recovered. Look, I know I agreed to keep this quiet, but it's information that's going to absolutely benefit us right now. The look Sister Basquiat's giving me is painful. After all, I promised to keep this to myself, but I need someone to take the fall. Having that someone be Dorm Mother Katabami will lead to the least possible fallout. It'll seem in character for her. Plus, I've already run it by her. Oh, so... Oh, that's interesting. So Katabami already knows she's getting thrown under the bus for this. That... Huh. I want to know this woman even more now, and they just keep not letting me. No, that's not... No, no.
それは違う。襲ったのはタヌキだ。リンゴは片場寮長が聖堂近くで餌を与えていることを知っていた。そして折悪く待ち合わせていた時にタヌキに飛びつかれ驚き足を痛めてしまった。突き飛ばされたのではない。もともとリンゴは突き飛ばされた云々は言っていない。
They freaked out after seeing a hairy beast and was injured. Yeah, okay. That leaves a lot of things open to interpretation for sure.
それじゃあタヌキをルーガルーだと勘違いして。
Hey man, like you're dealing with a Sasaki here, you know. They're gonna make that like these. They have shown that if anything, they love a big story. So absolutely, why wouldn't one of these sisters be someone to turn a raccoon into a goddamn werewolf? I forge onward, telling them that this is just my own conjecture.
怪我をした理由を尋ねられ、片場寮長が餌付けをしていたことを知っていたため、タヌキだと言えず、とっさに怪異の名を挙げたのだと思う。彼女も自己犠牲から。
The secretary murmurs, but I shake my head and tell her there's more to the story. Things don't add up if everyone was acting out of good intentions. A pinch of malice ups the believability.
彼女自身襲われたことを己を守ることに使おうと考えたのだと。化け物に襲われたとなれば。
If people believe she'd been attacked for some yeah, she could regain her lost social standing. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's a little too squeaky clean if that's just where we stop. So you've got to kind of like implicate her a little bit.
そんな事実。怪我をしたと聞き、距離を置く生徒は絶え、旧友は心配からお見舞いに来るようになったそうだよ。
Everyone, including the upstanding council secretary, falls silent at my words. They can hardly blame Ringo for telling such a lie. After all, even if it wasn't intentional, it was they who blamed her in the first place when they thought I'd rejected Nettie for her. As supposed exemplars of the student body, by knowing that they were content with placing blame, our council created an atmosphere where it was okay to shun her. Holy crap, dude. They're discerning enough to understand that it's their fault she felt driven to lie. I go on to say that she was afraid that if Ringo's lie were discovered, she would yet again be treated coldly. When I finish telling them everything, silence reigns over Iznik. The only sound is the occasional rattle of the icy winter wind shaking the windows. Nettie remains silent. If she answered, she'd be forced to lie. Door Mother must be punished! It's like the missing dollar riddle, she murmurs, an old puzzle centered on an informal fallacy in which good intentions lead to an apparent overall loss. My guess is my old-fashioned tastes are rubbing off. I mean, I think you kind of have no reason not to unless you want to start throwing out suspicions for everybody lying. You want to suspend Dorm Mother Katabami? She's a good girl. Sister Basquiat turns her kindly gaze toward the crowd and they all nod decisively. We're gonna sweep it under the rug like everything else. People will stop talking about it in a week. It'll be fine. However, I will have to have strict words with Dorm Mother Katabami about not feeding the wild animals, she mutters. Trying to take it off yourself, all right. I still think she's probably gonna get an earful, but she already knows. She already knows she's being thrown to the wolves on this one. Hey, the wolves. That was thematically in line with what we're talking about here. God, I'm so good at commentary. Every council member voices their agreement. This is a group of girls with integrity. Even if it wasn't really their fault, they must feel guilty about the part they played in it all. With an agreement reached, they all stand and bow their gratitude toward me. Shh. Nettie stares down at her toes guiltily. She looks so frail and impermanent right now, like a butterfly with wings so exquisitely gossamer fine they could be a mere trick of the light. Like the scenery in a dream, objects that lose their vibrancy and dissolve into gray smoke the moment you reach out to touch them. It's kind of storming outside. It's gotten awfully dark. I remember how she was when she fell ill and withdrew into herself. I murmur to myself as I reach out to gently wrap an arm around her shoulders. Aww. All right, time for the celebration coffee. My guest pipes up as I'm preparing her coffee, seemingly unable to wait until we're both seated. I pass the steaming, fragrant cup to Yaigaki-kun. Hell yeah, I did.
微妙な差だが、そこが違う。眼蓄のある言葉だ。さすがは二階屋の会長。な、白羽。
Yes, she's perfect. Suo-kun nods her agreement as she savors her own cup of coffee.
精霊のルーガルーの正体を隠したままで矛を収めることができたのですね。
なかなかに危うい橋だったが渡り終えた。ネリーの謹慎も解かれることになったよ。
I know she genuinely means it. She's such a wonderful underclassman.
これで千鳥や委員長にいい報告ができるってもんだ。自分たちも結果を聞きに来たいってうるさかったんですよ。連れてきても僕は構わなかったんだけどね。ことを済ました後に大勢で押しかけたら
Yeah, that might be. They might think something's up. I take a sip of my own coffee. As the bitter, astringent liquid spreads across my tongue, I feel the tension that was permeating my body being brought down a notch. It may not be my favorite beverage, but it's perfect for unwinding. Again, I don't know where everybody gets this idea that coffee is so relaxing. It is the absolute last thing that I would ever want to drink to relax.
何かな?
Maybe I'm just missing something. Maybe I just don't know enough about coffee. I'm willing to admit ignorance. I mean, I'm never wrong, but I'm willing to admit ignorance.
白羽は気づいているようで尺だが。ルーガルーの
Oh, are we gonna have to break this down now? All right then, let's break it down. Looking obviously flustered, Suo-kun is about to jump in, but Yaigaki-kun cuts her off.
騙しのプロを騙そうとするな。別に聞いたところで言って回ったりはしないさ。
Wouldn't dream of it.
ただ、白羽が知っていて私が知らないのがムカつくだけだ。
Got one over on me. I can't help but chuckle at her frank words.
いいんだ。八重垣くんは値千金の活躍をしてもらったしね。
As I speak, I'm already mentally running through how best to explain. First things first. Oh, we're doing it again. Okay. I thought that they were just going to do it, but I guess like anything in these games, I really should not expect them to give me the easy way out. They're not going to do that. All right. So the culprit I revealed in Iznik was my own fabrication. Similarly, there's a real culprit out there who fabricated the werewolf story. They didn't assail Ringo, but they did make use of the 7 mysteries. I realized the truth when it occurred to me that the footprints in front of the chapel were a red herring. So how did the footprints lead me to work out the real culprit? What made me realize the footprints were a red herring? It had nothing to do with the animal. And again, it's not this because there was need, but it's definitely that both Ringo's right and left shoes were muddy. The evidence leads me to believe that the person who made up the werewolf of the bell tower was none other than... Who made up the... Yeah, this is where it is. Boom! I think this is what I called a little ways back. And putting together the pieces, I savor the taste of the coffee on my tongue.
一度ネリーへと事件のあらましを話しながら整理していった時、妙に引っかかる箇所があった。それって犯人が消したって話でしたよね。ああ、初めはリンゴを襲った後、自分の足跡という証拠を残したくないために消したのだと。
However,
だが
足跡を消す必要はないということですね。
ああ、そういうことか。そうだ。
every student wears the same standard academy issued shoes.
よほど足のサイズが大きいだとか、歩き方が特徴的でないのなら消す必要なんてないんだ。
The shoe size would absolutely match.
なるほど。 でもタヌキの足跡はそれがバレたくなくて。
I tell her that there was never any raccoon in the woods by the chapel. Yagaki-kun frowns, then... Yeah! She kind of got thrown under the bus, but she seems super cool about it. So again, this only just makes me want to meet her more. Realization of my ruse dawns on her, and a feline smile curves across her features.
自分が噂の元になっていたことを黙っていたのが随分と心苦しかったらしい。だから餌付けをしていたことにしてくださいとの頼みも喜んで引き受けてくれたよ。
She wants to be punished!
悪党ですね。となるとタヌキはいなかった。佐々木妹が驚き怪我したっていうのはそう、真っ赤な嘘だよ。
She bares her feline fangs in a grin. Looks like she's figured it out too.
足跡を消す必要がないと分かった後、いくつかの祖語を拾うことができた。リンゴはそもそも聖堂には行っていなかったんだ。
聞かせていただいた靴箱にあったリンゴさんの口からの着想です。
ご名答。事件当夜、僕はリンゴの靴を見た。左右どちらもべったりと泥がついていたよ。
My audience had already worked it out, but I still go on to remind them that Ringo had injured her right foot.
足を引きずって帰った。泥がつく部分は必然的に偏る。
It's flimsy logic! Because I think that it doesn't matter how you drag in your foot, you know, it's just gonna kinda... Your foot can kind of move around while you're dragging it. Like it could happen accidentally. You could definitely get mud all over it.
なのに左右どちらの靴底にも均一に泥がべったりとついていた。
I think it's still a little flimsy.
アリバイ工作が裏目に出たってわけか。おそらく事件の流れはこうだ。リンゴが足をくじいた。これは本当だ。養護教諭が診察をして診断を下している。騒ぎになっていないところを見ると自室で。
I go on to suggest that since Ringo's bunk is on top, perhaps she slipped as she was coming down the ladder while she was going out for the meeting. She woke up Ichigo.
そこで佐々木姉が一計を案じたってわけだ。ああ、距離を取られている妹を案じて怪我を逆手に取り、周囲の同情を買うために。
Like it's a good plan, and it does, like it's coming from a good place.
待ち合わせよりも早く聖堂に行ったことにして、そこでルーガルーに襲われた。
And I guess something else I never really thought about all that much, and I probably should have, was that like none of her other clothes were muddied. I figured like if she injured her ankle, the way that her ankle kind of looked messed up, which is pretty bad, I have to imagine she would have fallen. So like her clothes would have been muddy or dirty too, so I guess we never really stopped to think about that. Again, these are all things that the story just does not cover, so you can't really account for it. But I think the thing is, a lot of these stories kind of expect you to kind of make some leaps in logic, because that's just kind of what you have to do sometimes in solving a mystery.
足跡がなかったのは当たり前だ。そもそも行ってすらないんだからな。待ち合わせの時間に来ないことに僕が心配して部屋に来ることも織り込み済みだったのだろう。
She showed me her injured right leg and told me the tale of her attack.
あとは八代先輩が話してくれた流れってわけですか。妹のために事件の絵図を描いた。
Erica hates this sentimental bullshit.
鐘楼のルーガルーを作り出したのは佐々木一吾くんだよ。
Now that the words have been spoken aloud, the air in the room grows heavy with tension. Absolutely not. They did it. They did it for a good reason. Like, again, they're kids. They mess up. Kids are gonna mess up. This is wildly elaborate for a kid's story, but I gotta tell you, kids are gonna screw up.
君はどうしたい?
Her pretty face twists. It's a harsh question for her. Unlike me and Yagaki-kun, she seeks the truth.
試すような真似をした。すまない。この件は僕たちだけの秘密。
Yeah, I don't think we tell anybody else that comes in here. I think it's just we stick with the raccoon story and the Katabami story.
よろしいのですか?
This would be our dirty secret. We're carrying it to our graves. Erica's already good at this. Erica's fine with keeping secrets. She's good at carrying those kind of things. Her and Chidori already got a body count that they're keeping hidden. Don't you even worry.
3人も知っている秘密は秘密じゃないと思いますが、私も賛成です。真犯人を見つけ
And again, yeah, like nobody gains anything from knowing this. That's such a Yagaki way of putting it. I accept her conclusion with a cynical smile, and Suo-kun also nods decisively, her expression deadly serious.
立花君と高崎君には伊豆肉でネリーの謹慎を解いた時の話を真実として語ってくれ。
Seeing them agree, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. It's finally over.
冷めてしまったな。
The coffee I take a gulp of when I finish my speech is lukewarm. It feels like a mocking reminder of my own half-assedness. I covered up the truth and threw together a stopgap solution. I still have feelings for Nerine Komikado, even while dating Ringo Sasaki. Erika Yagaki's encouragement and Suo Shirahane's scolding forced me to acknowledge my buried emotions all over again.
どうすればいいのかわからない。
Oh.
教えてください。
This poor girl
お母さん。
just deserves all the hugs in the world, man. Oh, I think we're perspectiving again. I'm tormented by a feeling of powerlessness. It's similar to the lethargy that permeates your bones after a severe, long-lasting cold. My body refuses to do what I want, as though my flesh and blood have been replaced by straw. Pinned down on the bed by this feeling of helplessness, a pale haze clouds my vision. Yuzuriha. I say my best friend's name aloud. I hardly have a right to voice it. Not after getting jealous when she moved on to someone else after. Oh. Okay, so there is jealousy here. Oh. I wasn't sure if there would be any real, because I've always had a hard time reading Neri, so I wasn't sure like where she's feeling and all this. And obviously her own past is just twisted up in a really interesting and just unique way. But she saved me again. This is like you know, something that keeps coming up, is these two have just continually saved one another. Jealous that another girl had stolen her from me, I offered no vindication even when Sasaki-san was ostracized, even though I'd known she was suffering because of it. I'm not bothered at all. Why? We should be happy for them. My black heart hadn't allowed me to utter those simple words, to let them off the hook. And so my inability to forgive had pushed her to incriminate herself. The werewolf of the bell tower incident. No doubt it was Ichigo-san's idea to make up a story in order to save her sister. Fool that I am, I became tormented with regret only after things had finally been set in motion. Because I hadn't wanted to forgive her, I forced the Sasakis to beat the sin of falsehood. The incident blew up, and then at the meeting of the Council of Nikaya, I watched as Yuzuriha addressed us, wondering if she intended to reveal their crime and judge them for it, or whether, with the noble resolve of a martyr, she would conclude by taking the guilt herself. However, because I was a coward, I didn't confess to the crime myself out of some noble idea of self-sacrifice. I wanted judgment for my own I wanted judgment for my own selfish jealousy. During my suspension, at first I felt like I'd been delivered. But as time stretched on, with only myself for company, I started to wonder if, when it became widely known that I was the one who attacked her, the Sasakis would suffer like me. The clever twins would surely realize that I was covering for them, and then they too would be tormented by the knowledge of their sin. Oh, it just keeps going deeper and deeper. I was plunged into anguish once again, but that was when Yuzuriha saved me. I recall her words back in Iznik. It may have been mere sophistry, but it was ultimately a kind lie, uttered to spare people pain. And I went along with it. With great effort, I roll onto my back. Looking up at the dim ceiling, I recall how, when we were young, I was the one who protected her. Oh man, look at this. Oh. This is after Yuzu's mom died, because she got sick after that. Slowly closing my eyes, I retreat into childhood memories. The image in my mind is the complete opposite. It's me, confined to my hospital bed in the throes of my disease. I was suffering from a potentially life-threatening illness, and the words I had received from Yuzuriha's mother had transformed me into a timid, cowardly little girl. Even in front of Yuzuriha, who came to visit me every day, I was ashamed of my wretched self, who had influenced her to depend on me. At the same time, I also harbored guilt over how much I enjoyed the fact that Yuzuriha still depended on me. She'd clasped my hand encouragingly. In my newfound cowardice, I had continued to face her with a shadowed smile and only encouraged her protective instincts. Good actions and pleasant ways are what make us lovely to our companions. I remember those words from Dorothy of the Wizard of Oz coming to me in the hospital room. If that's the case, then I must really be quite ugly. After a narrow escape, I've had my suspension lifted. Why does Yuzuriha still love me? After my long spell in the hospital and all the time it gave me to contemplate who I was, I returned to school with none of my former vigor, a shell of my former self. I became the target of bullying. Yuzuriha swapped out her mask of timidity for one of extroversion. She protected me, just as I had once protected her, as though we had switched places. When Yuzuriha transferred in, she was the forlorn one. The sweet, timid Yuzuriha became strong in order to protect me, and seeing her shielding me today once again has set my heart aflame. Is this love? It feels like it, and yet you don't really think of Yuzuriha as your friend, do you? I don't care if it's a lie, but please, please, promise my Yuzuriha. The desperate plea from her sickbed. Her mother's voice had scratched at my insides like something clawing its way out of a deep well. There is no salvation. Clenching my fists, I repeat in a small voice, as though trying to convince myself, there is no salvation. Oh, we are chaptering. There's a children's story called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. At the wizard's request, Dorothy and her friends set out to kill the Wicked Witch of the West. After overcoming many trials and tribulations, they succeed and seek to have their wishes granted in exchange, only to realize that the wizard is a fraud. He can't give the Tin Woodman his heart, nor the Cowardly Lion his courage, nor the Scarecrow his brain, and of course, he can't send Dorothy home. The wizard gives the despondent group what they desire in the form of a kindly lie. For the Scarecrow, a head full of wheat bran. For the Tin Woodsman, a heart of silk. For the Cowardly Lion, water infused with courage. Throughout their adventures with Dorothy, they had already gained, in turn, a head to think with, a sympathetic heart, and the bravery to face any danger. However, his sophistry will not return Dorothy to Kansas. Her friends make every effort to get her back until they learn of one who may be able to do it, Glinda the Good Witch of the South. They survive an attack from frightening trees, pass through the dainty China country, and make their way through the forest inhabited by giant spiders to finally arrive at Glinda's castle. After saying her emotional goodbyes to the Tin Woodman, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, Dorothy returns to Kansas. Upon coming to the end of the tale, I felt jealousy. Jealousy for this girl who had a home she so strongly wished to return to. After moving so many times, I had nowhere I could call home. Nowhere to return to. Home didn't even have to be a place. A person would do, but What begins now is a tale of a girl searching for a place to return to. Oh, we know where this is going. You gotta go home. Your home is not a home. Your home, we know. The Silver Slippers. There's no place like home. There's also no place like Iznik, and there's also no better place to end things than Raichal. So there we have it. So much! Like, that was so much. That was way more than I was expecting to go for this one. They took their time. They took their time getting to the end of that one, but I think they kind of needed to. So I can't help but feel we are cruising toward a resolution. It's got to be in the next few episodes, I have to imagine. I don't know how much more they can string this along. I think we've obviously got to settle the issue, like Ringo and Yuzuriha. I think that we've got to settle that. And if that's the way they're going, like if we're going with Nerine and Yuzuriha getting together at some point, we've kind of got to make that transition work somehow. So there's still a lot on the table, I guess. A lot more on the table than I thought, but usually by the time we got to this point in the last couple of games, it's kind of felt like, all right, we're close to the end game. So anyway, I'll stop my babbling now and I'll let you get on out of here. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by, spending some time. It's always appreciated, and I hope you have a nice whatever it is, wherever you are, and we'll catch you next time